Okay. Yeah, the fear and worries and everything, that's true. And the lies, can take a parts of you. So tonight I'm going to talk about, I would like to start with this question. How many of you afraid of losing your blessing? Or another question, can you lose your blessing? Or another one, why, what causes for us to lose our blessing? So those are very important questions that we need to ask, especially believers, right? So, Van already talked about that, fears and lies that Satan bring, to us, that's going to, affect all of our, blessing and stuff like that. He's going to tell us not to obey, to get fear, to get worry. So tonight I would like to, give you 3 points, 3 main points that can, really, cause, us to be away from, God, stray from God. So do you remember last time, 3? I'm just going to go back to those 3 kind of verses that I focused, last time. And the first one is James chapter 1, verse 17, right? So all these perfect gifts are from where? From above, from God. And also Matthew chapter 5 is talk about what? God is bringing rains and, to good and to evil people. Right? Those are kind of general kind of blessing. Everybody have that, right? Non-believer have that blessing. Other people have, believer have that kind of blessings. And, our last week Bible study, I point out that those blessings even begins very, very way back, in the creation, right? When God created Adam and Eve, he said that what? You're going to multiply. You're going to rule over the fish of the sea, all these animals. So will those blessings still remain today? Of course, right? People are still multiplying, giving birth. Believer or non-believer, they still have the same blessing, right? Man is the one that ruling over countries, right? Animal doesn't rule. Man rules, right? So now that is a kind of a general kind of, blessing. But we are talking about last time Psalm 31, right, verse 19. There is a kind of a special blessing that's stored for those who fear God, who fears God. So we're going to talk about that special kind of blessing to his sons and daughters. So this is the question that, last time we talked about, in the book of Job too. Naked I came, and naked I will return. And in that one, I'm going to tell you that that is true, that sentence is true to human being, right? When humans are born, they have no clothes on. Right? Do you ever find that, wow, this one come with, beautiful clothes? Do you ever see that? Yeah. And always human need to be what? Clothed as soon as they are, they give birth, right? So at the hospital, when a baby is born, immediately they do what? They wrap around, that baby with clothes, right? But what about the animals? Whenever the animal's born, do they need to wrap around with clothes? Why? Because they have clothes on, right? We human beings don't have what? Clothes on. None of these animals, you don't need to be clothed. You see on the TV, people selling, clothes for dogs and, cats and stuff like that. Those are extra things. You don't need that. Animal doesn't need that. They have their original what? Clothes, they're born with that. But only a human being needs to be taken care of. So that need is there, and that fear is there. And Satan knew very well. He knows very well, and he's going to destroy, by giving you fear. and cause you, problems. So we're going to see from Matthew chapter 4. And this is the temptation of Jesus Christ, all right? The temptation, the tempter, Satan himself, came. How many of you read this story before? Okay, and how many times the tempter tempted Jesus Christ? 3 times, right? So those 3 points are very important. That the tempter is always, looking around like, roaring lion, to devour. Who should he devour? That is the 3 points that he used. Okay, the first one, start with this sentence. If you are the Son of God, right? If you are the Son of God. So whenever you see this sentence, if you are the Son of God, that means Satan is a kind of, trying to, tell you or make you to think about your identity. Who you are. Who are you? Now, if you are this and if you are that. So now, Christians, especially Christians, we are the sons and daughters of what? God. So if you are the sons and daughter of God, right? So what do you worry about? A lot of kids here tonight, there's an age level because of that. And there are here some parents, that are here. So are you guys worried about what should you eat? What should you wear? I don't think you guys worry that much, right? And even like teenagers that are here, right? How do you, especially in America, do you have to worry about food? Too much food. Too much blessing can kill you, right? Obesity and overweight and stuff like that. America, you don't need to worry about that. Too much food. But even though there are too much food, we see that at the corner of the street, what are people doing? People are begging for what? Food. I'm homeless, and I need what? To eat. So give me money so that I can buy food, right? Do you see that? And whenever you see that, what's going into your mind? Right? So there's immediately good or bad things go into your mind, right? Man, these guys are lazy, so they don't work, so they cannot eat. Or maybe other people said, wow, I need to help, so I'm going to give him, whatever I have, or $2, $3. See, those are the choices that you make. So when you see people there begging. But yesterday, I was working at my store, and I was walking in a produce section, and that man came and come and show me one bunch of celery, and it's really packed with a plastic wrap. But on top of that, do not return, with orange color. It's written down on that. So the cashier up there, see something bad, in that, that package. So she put do not return, to the shelf. So he brought it back, and then he showed me, could you see what's wrong with this? I'm trying to see, and then I said, there's only like a brown spot, on one of that celery. Because of that, she said, you cannot return it to the shelf. So that means they have to do what? Throw in the trash. And then he took it out, and he said, if I just remove one of this branch, it's like a brand new. And he did that and showed me to me. But now I have to what? Throw all these away. You see that, America is very, very rich, right? But at the same time, many people are begging for food out there. You see? So it's like, it's not fair. So the question is, the point is what? People still worry for what? What should they eat? What should they wear? Where should they live? So many of you don't worry about this. And now the tempters know that, so he came to Jesus Christ. And what was the question? If you are the Son of God, and he gave the command, and you command yourself, and as these stones become what? Bread. Why the tempter tempted Jesus Christ with food? He fasted for 40 days, so 40 days and 40 nights, that's why he is hungry. He is hungry, so the devil thinks that he is going to need food, right? So today is the same, everywhere of your life. One day you're going to choose your career, your job. It's depending on what? How should I have, how should I feed my, kids if I have, kids, or how should I take care of myself? Everything has to do with what? Food. Now, pretty soon, a lot of people are going to leave here to college, right? Now you're going to study, further, study, getting more higher education. And to do what? To get a job for what? To help other people? To make Mr. Money, right? To have Mr. Money and then to buy what? Oh, food, to buy clothing, to buy house, cars, and stuff like that. So that you can live what? Happy and wealthy life. Isn't it? So that might be your goal, right? So, but the devil is trying to tempt you. Let me give you one example. So give me, is it right or wrong? So let's say I'm working and I get like, $15 an hour, all right? But some other company offer $20 an hour. Which one you are going to choose? You're going to stick with $15 an hour, or you're going to take $20 an hour? What? Why? That's not wise. It's about trust. So the question you should ask is what? What kind of job is that? Isn't it? So the pay is good, but what job should I do? So that's really happened in California. Florida. Those are a lot of, refugees, that came from Guam. They came and they walked, they pay like, $12, $13 an hour. But a secret company is going to hire people and going to pay more money. So everybody left, their, whatever job they're doing, and they went to what? A secret company. That's smoking, right? Tobacco making this secret. So why they change their career? Why they change their job? To have more money. But that more money is not a good thing. It's going to harm a lot of people. So my wife, told, her brother, don't change, to that job. But he was kind of like, oh, there are too much money. He was counting 1 hour, $20, this, oh, that's a lot of money. So he is thinking about what? Money. If he have money, he can spend more, he can eat more, he can wear more, he can, live better. But it's not always the case, right? So the devil, the tempter, is always coming to tempt you that way. So now that's why it's important. That is one way that you can lose your blessing. And the tempter is going to tempt you by, food, clothing, and, drinking and stuff like that. All right, so that's Number one thing. So the tempter came to Jesus and said, hey, just make, if you're the Son of God, just make this stone to bread and eat it. Can Jesus make that, can Jesus turn that stone into bread? Yes. But Jesus didn't choose to do that. Why? Why? Let's say if Jesus turned the stone into bread, is that sinful? And he ate it. He didn't steal. He didn't cheat. Nothing wrong with making the stone into bread, right? So what if Jesus make it and eat it? What's wrong with that? Then why didn't Jesus do that? So let's read the next verse. Okay, let's read it together. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. What was the reason? So what does that mean? So every day you're not going to eat, you're just going to read the Bible? So what does that mean? Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. I really would like to hear from you guys. Why? What does that mean? Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Does that mean what? You should totally rely upon God. You should trust God. Isn't it? You should trust God. You don't trust on your own understanding. Right? You should trust God. That is where blessing comes from. That is where, your provision comes from. Your food comes from. Right? So that's even in the Garden of Eden, right? What made Adam and Eve, sin? Why did Adam and Eve sin? They didn't trust God, right? But with their eyes, they see that tree, that fruit is what? Good to eat. See, that's make them not trusting in God, not relying upon God. They would like to try what they see. See, that's why today many people, trust in their own ability. That is very dangerous, right? So last night, at my house, I just tell about 3 people. Moses, David, and Elijah. 3 men in the Bible. And 2 of them we knew them, even their childhood. Right? Moses was chosen to do what? To save his people from out of bondage, out of slavery. And that time Moses wasn't even born yet, but God already had a plan. He chose that baby. Very cute, very nice, and he grew up in the palace, right? In Pharaoh's, palace, daughter's palace. And he got the best education, the best food, the best clothing, everything you name it. That time, it's like America. Egypt was like America at that time, right? Education, food, clothing, everything was there. And Moses was, grew up in every kind of wisdom, and he was becoming a man. And one day he went out and do what? See that his people are in trouble. So what did he do? Why did he kill that man? He felt bad. Why did he do that? He trusts his own ability, right? He couldn't wait God. I can do it. God chose me for that reason. My mom told me, or something that he has in his thought, I can do it on my own. So when he did that, what went wrong? Was he successful? Is that successful? No. What happened to him? He just ran away from, the place that he grew up, right? And then he ended up in where? He ended up in the desert, right? For how many years? "40 years. What age? On what age that Moses ran away? Man, you guys are bad, so bad than I thought. When Moses was 40, when he was 40, he became a man, and he just going to took over the matter in his own strength, right? And then he has to run away, and he lived in the desert for how many years? 40 years. So now, after that, how many years later? 80 years later, he saw a burning bush, right? So at that time, God called him, "Hey, Moses, come. Now is the time. I'm going to choose you to deliver my people out of the bondage." And then what did Moses say? "Who am I?" Who, what? Am I? Didn't Moses know himself? Is he out of his mind? What was that question all about? Who am I? Why me? Right? What is that? Who am I? That's mean what? He's just saying that I am nothing. Right? I can't do it. I tried before and I cannot do it. I am nothing. And then did God say that, "Oh yeah, you are nothing, you're right. Okay, I'm going to find another one"? Did God do that? No. If you know yourself you are nothing, then God can use you. If you know yourself you are something, then God cannot use you. You thought you were a hero, but you didn't know you are zero. Right? So if you said, "I am zero," then God can put 1 in front of you and you become what? 10. But you thought, "I am always 1, 1, 1, or 1, number 1, number 1. But what if God put a lot of 0 in front of that? Right? So God cannot use you. So in order for God to use you, you have to do what? You have to rely and trust in God. But that comes with a lesson. So now, today the first point, man cannot live by bread alone. So we have to trust God every day of what? Our life. God is our creator, our provider. He is the one there giving us all these wealth, blessing, and stuff. So I'm going to trust in him with my education, with my, everything, my life, my time. See? Until you see that, you're going to be very prideful. Oh, you're going to be a very proudful man or woman. I can do the problem in America is all the kids right now, the sentence that you use, the word that you use, what? I know. Whatever you say, what? I know. Right? Even though you don't know, you say, what? I know. That's the problem. Right? You think you know everything, right? Yeah, that will cause you a big problem. Until you flat yourself on the surface, then God won't use you. And that's the lesson that we learn. Satan knew you very well. Hey, don't trust in God. Trust yourself. Do something for yourself. if you are the son of God. All right? So we still have 2 more to go next week. So if you have time, go back and read. But the first one is what? Trust in God for your food, for your clothing, for your living. You always need to learn how to trust God. Even doesn't have to do with your, there is no age limit, young or old. I would like to show you a picture, but, I can do it. But in the border of China and Myanmar, it's the civil war, right? Burmese and Kachin are fighting. And there are a lot of children, homeless, and they have nothing to eat. And if they have to eat, they just, people come and, put all these banana leaves, and people come and dump all these rice on there, and no meat. They just sprinkle salt, and, some of these, a little bit of these, what do you call it? We call it pebble, and they eat that. But before that, these guys are, in the picture, these small kids are praying with tears. How many of you pray with tears before you eat something? I don't think none of you, right? So trust, even something that you're going to put in your mouth. And that should come from who? God. So you have to learn that lesson. Okay? God bless you, and I'll see you next week.